Welcome, my cheesy chocolate bread slices. How you doing today? It's Chris here, we're back with another speedrun video at you guys, but I'm doing it a little bit different. You guys have known that I've been doing a lot of beginner type tracks, right? And that's fun, that's cool and everything. I've just been talking and telling you guys some stories along the way, but I'm done with that noob cake crap. We're moving up in the world. We're going to play some of the hardest maps. I originally was planning on doing every single map as a speedrun video, but I feel like people don't enjoy them as much as I probably do. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and do it backwards, and then we'll just see how much fun you guys are having in watching these really, really hard maps get beaten as fast as frickin' possible. Now, I gotta say that I think that I did a really, really good job here, and there are different ways to sort of save time in the early game. I originally started off by doing two engineers, one in the top and one on the left over there, and ended up not working out very well at all. I ended up having a really, really hard time in farming, and because I couldn't farm, I kind of had a lot of trouble in the middle part of the game and the end part of the game, and that was just terrible, man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it up a little bit, guys. It's going to mean that I have a sort of slow beginning up in here, but I think that it ends up being better in the long run. So what I want to do is I want to play Main Street for you guys, all the extreme maps. We're going to do Main Street, then we're going to pop into Plutonium Lab, and then we're going to hop all the way up into Tar Pit, the hardest map in the game, and see if we can still end up surviving and actually beating that map as fast as possible. Now, of course, as usual, guys, in any of my speedrun videos, I absolutely welcome any sort of competition, man. Come on over. Play me. I'm down, man. I want to see you guys beat me, or at least put some other records up on the board up there. So don't forget, everything is in the description down there. BTD5, or it's speedrun.com/BTD5. Pretty simple. And also, I actually wanted to give a little bit of an apology. All right. So, I had a couple speedrunners come to me, and they were saying that I was sort of rude. And in no way, shape, or form was I trying to be rude, so I wanted to give a quick apology to them. I kind of understand where they're coming from. I still don't feel like I was like a complete jerk face or anything like that, but I do understand where they're coming from with this, so I'm sorry if you felt like that, and I want to try and make it a little bit more right. So what happened was, I ended up talking to this guy who was doing speedruns, Val, and he's obviously got almost all the freaking records on the game over there, which is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. He beat a lot of my records that I had on Impoppable and everything. He just knocked him out of the freaking park, which was pretty crazy. But he came to me and he's like, "Hey, Chris, you should try out some speedruns." So I'm like, "Okay, man, let's do it. Let's hop in here. Let's play some speedruns. Let's see if I end up doing a good job." And I started off really, really bad. I was like, "This is so hard. These people are really freaking good at this game. I'm getting like, a minute or 2 minutes higher than the record, even at the time, which is not even as good as it is right now." So I was like, what am I going to do over here, man? How the heck am I going to actually compete with these guys? So what I did was I decided to beat every single map on regular mode, so I could unlock all the masteries, so I could unlock all the tokens and have all of the bonuses for my towers. And it actually worked out pretty darn well. I actually have almost all of the tokens upgraded or unlocked or upgraded right now in my lab, and I feel like it did give me a lot of extra bonuses and help me out, especially on those Impoppable modes, and especially, super especially, on these extreme maps right here. Every single bonus that I'm allowed to use, I'm using right now. Using my specialty building, I'm using my banana farmer, I'm using all of those lab upgrades, I'm using everything that I have. So, they don't allow you to use any agents besides the banana farmer or any crazy things like double cash or something like that. It just makes sense, you shouldn't be allowed to have double cash. It would just make the game upsettingly easy. So, he introduced me to it, and then a little bit later after that, maybe a week later, he's like, "Oh, guess what? I found out that there's actually a speedrunning community," and they were all talking about Val because he was beating some of the world records over there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I guess what they were talking about me, and I didn't even know that they were talking about me." So we kind of joined in on the speedrun community. Now, I never actually joined in on the speedrun community, but I did hop in, and I just told them that I am going to be making some speedrun videos that I hope that I can help make their community just a little bit larger or bigger, or help them out in some way. And I was just talking to him for a little bit, and nothing crazy or anything, but just messing around. And eventually, I kind of took it upon myself. I decided to make... and they had their own Discord server, and they still do, which, if you guys want to, if you're at all interested in speedrunning, learning strategies, talking to people, or whatever, feel free to check it out. I'm going to leave it in the description down there, guys. But what I decided to do is I took it upon myself to make my own, since I already had a fairly popular Discord server, I figured what I would do is I would hop in there and I would make a new channel. So what I did was I made a new channel as well. And some of them got sort of mad at me. I was trying to help. I just want to say that really quick. I was trying to help. I was like, you know what? Consolidation is usually a good thing. If we can get everybody from their server into our server that is completely controlled by bots, and we've got mods, and we've got a lot more people who maybe can be interested in the speedrunning community. That's another thing, is I feel like any community, it's almost always better if you have more people, you know? And that's what I was trying to do, is I was trying to open it up to a bunch more people so everybody can kind of have fun and enjoy speedrunning and, you know, just have a good time. But basically, they got a little mad at me because they're like, Chris, you took our server, you just took it over, you're splitting up the community now, you're being a jerk, you didn't even give a shout out to our Discord server. And I'm just like, oh man, I didn't realize that I was being a jerk. Alright, I was not trying to be a jerk. I was trying to help. I was trying to make the community better or bigger, or even, you know, whenever you join two communities together, you hope that it's going to be a good merger and end up being good. But they kind of just like to keep their own little server down there. They didn't really like to use the chat. I kind of understand that, but it just didn't work out as well as I thought. So, obviously, I apologize if I caused any issues or problems for anybody. That was never my you know, that wasn't what I was trying to do. All right. So anyways, that's pretty much where I was at for that. Let's talk about the strategy a little bit right now. So what I ended up doing is I ended up popping my engineer in the middle there, but I ended up popping another engineer on the far left side. Now I did it on the left side because if you actually look at the map, it's not a perfect square. The top of the map is slightly closer than the left side of the map. If you just look at the lines in the game, you can see there's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 lines on the left side there. There's actually 3 lines on the top. So putting the guy on the left is going to make you go just a little bit faster, pop some of those balloons just a little bit faster. And again, it's not like a huge mungo change or anything like that, but it is that small little things that can end up, you know, making fairly large changes by the time you get to the end of the game. So, of course, you know, we're pretty darn late in the game already. It's almost round 63 in here, and we've got 2 Apache Dart ships, we've got 2 Spectres over here, and we've got a ton of banana farm action. I farmed like crazy on this map. Now, as most people probably know, this is probably, this is not an extreme map. It is, but let's be honest, it isn't. It isn't an extreme map. I would even argue that it's probably easier or should be an advanced map, not even an expert map. It's just too gosh darn easy. You got two pathways that actually lead in the middle. I know there's not that much room for them to work with here, but it's just too gosh darn easy, man. It's not an extreme map. You know, maybe you can call it an expert map, but you should just at the very least call it an expert map. It's probably more of an advanced map, which is kind of ridiculous. But I still had a little bit of trouble in the early part of the game trying to kill these guys as fast as possible. But now, of course, late game, it's just how can we end up popping these balloons as fast as possible? You know, obviously, Apache Dart ships are freaking amazing. Spectres are absolutely delicious. But we're going to start spamming some Robo Monkeys in here as well. Those are like the 3 main best towers for popping power. It's kind of weird because they work in slightly different ways, by the way. The Spectres are great for balloon popping power. The Robo Monkeys are fantastic for Moab popping power, and then the Apache Dart ships are sort of in the middle. They're good for Moabs and they're good for balloons. In no way, shape, or form are they bad in either situation. But of course, they're not as good at balloon popping power as these guys, and not as good at Moab popping power as Robo Monkeys. At least in my opinion, for the cost. Keep that in mind, for the cost, guys. So what I ended up doing here is, again, I'm trying to pop these guys as fast as I freaking can. So I've got these Moab Maulers all over the place, baby. Spam-a-ram-a-ding-dong in these things. Now, sometimes what I ended up doing is I ended up just going full-out Robo Monkeys. And that's fine. You can do that. But I had more than enough room, I had more than enough money, I was not feeling bad at all about going for all these guys. One thing that I could have done was I could have ended up putting my Spectres slightly closer to the, you know, the areas where the balloons come out, I was thinking about it, but I decided against it, mostly because they're already there, they're already in the range of the monkey village, and I kind of like it because no matter what, these guys are going to be hitting the balloons that are in the very front. They're never going to be attacking Moabs on accident or something like that. I want them to kill the balloons as fast as possible. Let the Moab Maulers, let the Robo Monkeys, let them actually do the work. So, in this video, I talked a little bit about the strategy, a little bit about, what's been going on with the speedrunning community, I suppose. I hope that it's still getting bigger. I hope that people still want to do speedruns and compete. I noticed that there's really not as many people competing as I thought there would be. Hope you guys want to hop in there and play. It's really not that difficult. Get LiveSplit, download LiveSplit, and play the game. That's really about it, you know? I know it's difficult, though, and that's one thing that you got to do. You can't just hop in here and just be like, oh, the first time, I'm going to get world records all over the place, baby. It doesn't really work that way. It's not that oh, crap, I keep hitting my spoon. It's in my bowl over here. I'm sorry that it's making clanging noises. But it's not that easy. You actually have to try at least a little bit, usually practicing, and I think the most annoying thing about it, sadly, you cannot leave on the auto rounds. You have to... If you want to get good, if you want to be really good, you have to turn off the auto rounds and do everything manually. So for the last thing that we got to do here, guys, is we're going to pop in some submarines. So of course, if at all possible, pop in some first strike abilities to insta-kill those oh my gods. Helps you out so gosh darn much, especially if you can get 5 of these guys. Bam, bam, shazam, you just insta-kill those oh my gods and you end the game. So we ended up getting a pretty decent... time here. I feel like people can probably beat me on this one. I didn't do a perfect job, but for an extreme map, getting only a few seconds higher than, maybe like 30 or 40 seconds higher than my normal times, not bad at all. Of course, if you guys enjoyed, press the like button for me, subscribe if you haven't, and of course, have a super duper delicious day.